Defense Fund. And this is Dawn Shirreffs. She is the Florida Director for EDF. This briefing now is going to discuss how the Inflation Reduction Act can contribute to both local and global efforts to address climate change. Dawn Shirreffs serves as the Florida Director of EDF, as I just said, and prior to joining that organization, Dawn held advocacy roles at Clean Water Action, National Parks Conservation Association, and the Everglades Foundation, working on restoration of America's Everglades. Most recently, she led the development of a public affairs team at the Miami Foundation with a focus on regional resilience and building the bench of local nonprofits to participate in public policy solutions. Please welcome to the stage Dawn Shirreffs.
Good morning, everybody. I hope all of you are slightly less caffeinated than I am today. But really excited to be here and spend some time with all of you to talk about the really momentous moment that we've got in time right now. Like, we are about to embark on the next 10 years of globally changing policy that happened as a result of the Inflation Reduction Act. So I'm going to talk a little bit about it, but I want to set some expectations. I've got 10 minutes. The bill is 755 pages long. And there are 423 programs embedded in it, most of which don't have any guidance. So I do want to, I don't think that should take away from the fact that it is really going to be transformative. So let's focus on that for a minute, if I can advance. There we go. So why does it matter, right? First, I think the name puts people off. They're like, Inflation Reduction Act? That's a climate bill? What's happening? So there's a whole series of tax incentives in this bill that make it unlike any other bill that we've ever seen. We don't normally have big, massive bills sort of structured in this way. What this ultimately means is that we get these benefits that are available to people across sectors, across political alliances. We are getting all of these new tools that will drive private investment and get clean energy investments. This raises the bar. Everyone was wringing their hands and saying, how will we get to the Paris Agreement? And they didn't see a path. And honestly, this bill by itself isn't going to get us there. And it's not self-executing. Everyone in this room is going to have a role to play in the implementation. But we're moving in the right direction. We passed the bipartisan infrastructure law, then we built onto that the Inflation Reduction Act, and it is the largest investment in climate in the history of the United States. We will see a 40% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. It's nearly 1 billion metric tons by 2030. It's a big deal. We've got 10 years, and we'll see $50 billion in energy cost savings. I don't know about you, but I could take that little edge off my power bill every month and would be more than happy to do so. But it also really does reduce the deficit, right? So the Congressional Budget Office found $305 billion by 2031 will be reduced from our federal deficit. It's really important. The economy really matters, and climate change solutions and the economy are not at odds, especially now more than ever. But given the way that this particular legislation is moved, we have to think differently about how we do advocacy as a community. We have to talk about jobs. We have to really lean into the fact that already, as a result of this bill, there are 100,000 new jobs that have been announced, and it's been less than a year. We know that people are sitting down and talking about how to make sure that they can cover their family bills, and they have to figure out what their career opportunities are. And this affords people a path forward to really be part of the solution without making sacrifices. Climate change is not a sacrifice, it is a solution. So we're talking about mechanics, electricians, custodian workers, support staff. There are a lot of really good paying jobs that are going to emerge, which is going to strengthen our economy overall. And that's today. But over the next 30 years, we're looking at up to 100,000 jobs in some states. There's going to be about, this is a broad estimate, so fair warning, between 4,000 and 300,000 negative health outcomes avoided as a result of the implementation of the Inflation Reduction Act. So maybe someone down the street in Orlando didn't wake up this morning thinking about climate change, but there's probably some family members' health that they did wake up thinking about, and this bill helps them. The other thing is, look at the map. Everybody can see, where the jobs are, where the opportunities are. It makes it personal. It isn't something that's going to deploy in Washington, D.C. or in New York. This is a very locally deployed piece of policy, and all of us are going to have to engage, but all of us benefit, and we've got to connect those dots. So let's just talk about how we can do that. So we really put these into 3 buckets. How will this bill help families? Well, states like Utah and Illinois, who are seeing really high price increases on their electric bills because of natural gas, will get short-term and long-term relief based on the opportunities in this bill. They can get energy efficiency audits, they can get tax credits for home improvements, and they can save money. This is good for renters and homeowners, and that's a really important distinction because traditionally, most of the benefits have only been available to homeowners, and that leaves a lot of people out. Affordability and energy cost are deeply tied. We have to look at the places that are most impacted. Those are, communities of color, rural communities, indigenous communities. There are extra benefits in this program available in those places because those are the folks that are paying the highest energy cost burden. We're going to see in the next few months, probably by mid-April, some guidance coming out of the Department of Energy for the homes in the HERA program, which I won't get into because they're too technical. But in that moment, we need to be ready to make sure that those of us that are doing grassroots work, that are talking to families, understand how they can move forward and access these benefits so they can get the energy efficient windows, they can get what they need to benefit, right? They're paying their taxes, they should be able to benefit from this bill. What about the business community? So one of the things the business community will always tell you is that they need access to broader markets. They need regulatory certainty. We are telling businesses you can make investments now and you're going to have cheaper costs, which means you can generate more profit. We are actually expecting significant, like 10 times the private investment of what the bill provides. So take the billions of dollars from the Inflation Reduction Act, multiply it by 10. That's how this piece of legislation works. It's really unique. We've got to keep pushing because these are conversations and decisions that are going to be happening, on the home front in people's houses. And then they're going to be in small businesses or in boardrooms. And it is our job as a community to make sure that folks understand the opportunity. The things are going to move quick as soon as guidance is announced. They have to be ready to seize the opportunity, and they have to know that they are supported by their community in doing so. And I see that as our job. We also can really transform clean energy in our states. There are massive incentives for the utilities. We're building on the bipartisan infrastructure law that gave some tools to strengthen the grid so that we are ready for a new clean energy revolution. We are making the funding streams available, and we're future-proofing. We can't keep losing all of this energy on the grid if we really want to achieve our climate goals. So there's really, really great tools, and again, it's about leveraging private sector opportunities. We don't want anybody not to be profitable, not to be successful. We want to all win with this. So let's talk about what's working. So in New York, offshore wind is going to bring $4 billion to New York State businesses. We see Georgia is going to have a new battery making plant for Hyundai. Ford has announced a $3.5 billion battery plant in Michigan. And in Florida, the utilities have dedicated $456 million of the rebates and incentives that they're getting back on clean energy and taking it off your bill. Probably affects most of you in here. But it's even going further. These are just a few examples of what's already happening as a result of the bill. California is actually upping its renewable energy goals. We can be aspirational. We can go further than we thought we could 9 months ago. So how can you help? And this is the most important part. The decisions are going to be happening everywhere, all the time. And some of the folks in this room do really incredible work with the energy sector, and others do really fantastic work with communities, and others are in municipalities. And guys, we're gonna have to treat this like a game of bingo. You know, look at your card, you see your spots, you wait for your program to pop up where you know that you can really jump in and help support the community that you know well and empower them to take advantage of these opportunities. This cannot be 5-year-old soccer games where everybody just chases one ball around. We won't get it done, and we don't have the time to waste. We need strong messaging. We need to focus not on the bill, not on the wonky stuff. And I know that's hard for some of us, and by that I mean me, but we have to tell stories. We have to tell stories about Sarah, the single mom who couldn't pay her electric bill, and how the energy efficiency programs really helped her. We have to tell stories about the business owner that was able to add jobs because he got a new contract on clean energy. We need to be able to make this personal so that we can win the win. And that's really what I hope to work with all of you going forward on. There are some great resources out there. Rewiring America has some really cool tools that you should definitely check out. We have to all work together here. This is an unbelievable moment, and I'm so excited to be here with all of you, confident that we're going to get it done. Thank you.